YouTube prankster. Apparently, this YouTuber followed this guy around a mall food court earlier this year. Alan Coley, 31, has been acquitted of aggravated malicious wounding in the shooting of Tanner Cook. Tanner apparently runs a channel called Classified Goons, and the jury split on two lesser firearm counts, however, but decided to convict him on one and acquit him of the other. The shooting happened last April at the food court in Dulles Town Center, about 45 minutes west of the nation's capital. It set off, obviously, some panic. People fled the scene as, again, a gunshot happened. He pled not guilty and said he was acting in self-defense. The verdict came down after about 5 hours of deliberation there. 3 hours in, the jury sent out a note saying it was divided in terms of whether the defendant acted in self-defense or not. And then the jury ended up delivering their verdict at the end of the day. Now, Coley's defense attorney, Adam Pouliard, said that the conviction on the firearms charge is inconsistent with the law, given Coley's acquittal of self-defense grounds. He asked the judge to set aside the conviction, and I guess a judge will hear arguments on that next month is when that is scheduled to happen. Let me check the post date of this. Oh, this is actually, I'm sorry, this is, I think this is a little older than that, so it wasn't last week. I apologize on that. So there's, again, I didn't know this story. So there's precedent here is what Sean's trying to show me of what it was I was saying is going to happen. Because I think more violence is going to keep happening with these. It can be lighthearted, the prank thing. I'll tell you another prank I saw online that I don't think is smart. There's a guy who kind of looks like, I'm going to say me, but what I mean is out of shape, you know what I mean, older, beard. And he's walking into like playgrounds. And the like, wearing nothing but a robe. And he walks up to children and he pulls the robe open. And so the parents are sitting behind and only see it from the back. And of course, everybody runs out, what the hell are you doing? And then he turns around, he's like, look, I have clothes on. Okay. Do what you want. You're going to find the wrong dad. And he's not going to think it's funny joking around exposing yourself to children. Which, by the way, is that funny? I mean, I hate to be that guy because I hate when people are like, what we need to do is find out, I don't know, mister. I don't really want to be one of those because that's mom stuff, not dad stuff. But at the end of the day, like, you got to be careful bringing people's children into stuff. I've said this forever. People say whatever the hell it is they want to me, and I understand it. That is the rule of engagement. I have the platform. I'm the obnoxious idiot with all the opinions, so people then feel like I'm teeing off on this moron right here. All about it. I have said, though, if you find yourself in my DMs and you want to run your mouth, I'm not one of these new school dudes who's going to kick the dirt and say, oh, shucks. No. You said what you want. Now I'm going to say what I want. And I find, man, normally when that happens, people have a lot less to say after that.
Love you.
But one of the rules has been, and I did not always subscribe to this when I was younger and more passionate and all of that stuff, I did not have this rule. Don't make it about their wife. And don't make it about their children. You don't know the response. You cannot predict that. You are putting a man in survival mode at that situation. And we've done a good job talking about how dangerous men are for the last 4 years. You're right. When you push us to the end like that, we are dangerous, baby. For sure we are. Do not mess with people's children like that. Now, justified to kill, to do whatever, that's a completely different argument. But if you find yourself with a lumped up face because you were pretending to flash children in a park, I'm not going to feel bad for you. As a matter of fact, one of those lumps probably came from me. Welcome back to the Stansbury Show on Rock 1069, online at WRQK.com. Hit that microphone talkback button to reach out, or just text me at 330-450-7625. Joining the program now is WWE superstar Johnny Gargano, who will be in town for SummerSlam August 3rd at Cleveland Brown Stadium. My man, thanks so much for joining me this morning. How the hell are you?
I'm great.
It's so good to have you on the program, man. I appreciate you being a part of it. As I'm sure you know, the wrestling fandom and rock station fandom go kind of hand in hand. This is a marriage made in heaven. I've already started to alert some listeners I know who are big wrestling guys. I'm like, yo, man, just so you know, I have your hero coming on the program, and they are pumped about it, man.
I'm glad to hear it.
So I'm so happy to have you. Also, man, we got a couple of things in common. We're both Cleveland guys. If this information I have on you is correct, you're out of Lakewood, Ohio, correct?
So I'm actually, so I don't know if Wikipedia, I don't know where, so I went to high school in Lakewood.
Okay.
I went to St. Ed's High School, but I was actually born in Cleveland. So
okay.
I lived in like the west side of Cleveland my whole life.
All right, there we go. I, grew up, a Cleveland kid myself. And so obviously the Browns are all over the headlines recently. Johnny, if you don't mind, I was going to ask you a couple of questions. How do you feel about the Browns maybe moving to Brook Park with the dome? Do you like the dome idea, or is this is the AFC North, so you know what, you play outside and the fans freeze no matter what? Where do you come down on that?
Okay, so I've done a lot of interviews today, and this is actually the first one that has asked me this. And I'm glad that someone's asking me this. I have
good.
an opinion on it.
Okay,
good. So you're talking to someone here who literally went to the coldest game in franchise history. If you remember not last year, but the year before, on like Christmas Eve,
yeah,
there was like the coldest game of all time. Me and Candace took our whole family there. We took our 1-year-old baby there.
Wow.
Literally, so I have been in the cold. I've been in the coldest one you can possibly go to. And upon saying that, I am all about the dome. Please, please. I do not want to sit in the cold anymore. I'm totally fine with the Brook Park Dome. So, you know what? Like, I know there's a hot take there that people are like, oh, we don't want to move around to Brook Park. If they build up Brook Park and they add stuff around it, and they make a once-in-a-lifetime facility that can host a Super Bowl, that can host a WrestleMania, that can bring more people to Cleveland, Ohio, then I am all about it. And frankly, I'm kind of tired of sitting out in the cold. So please, give me a dome. All about that Brook Park Dome.
Talking to Johnny Gargano, WWE superstar, and we're asking him about the Cleveland Browns dome proposal because, well, you're a diehard Cleveland Browns fan. And I got attacked by my own audience, Johnny, by saying the same thing you did. I said, look, man, when I was a younger guy, I was like, nah, man, give me the beer. I want outside. It's freezing cold. I want people to have to deal with the cold when they come in here to play the Browns. But I got to tell you, man, I got a little old. And so that freezing cold
and
weather.
Also, and like people say that, like, oh, we want the teams to deal with the cold. Look, again, I was a Browns fan. I'm a Browns fan my whole life. That hasn't been working out very well for us.
That's a great point.
It wasn't like it worked really well in like the early 2000s or anything like that. We were like, oh, they're dealing with the cold. It didn't help.
No, you're not wrong.
You need comfort over that.
Absolutely. As we're talking to Johnny Gargano again out of the WWE. Buddy, I did a little research on you. You're the first ever NXT Triple Crown winner. And I found that to be very interesting because, again, I'm a Cleveland guy. I once bartended an NXT event at the Cleveland Agora. And I didn't know what we were going to get there. I didn't know what kind of event that was going to be in that venue. And then when I saw it that night, I was like, oh, my God, dude, this thing's going to be huge. This is going to take off like...
I love my time so much in NXT. And that's why I was there for so long. I generally love the environment. I love the atmosphere. And those events, whenever we do the Agora, it was just such a special time. And it's so wild to think about that. Like, think about NXT in the Agora, and think about how hot NXT was and how hot NXT is now as well. But NXT is absolutely amazing. But to think back about my career and think about the fact that in like 2005, I was wrestling in front of like 10 people in like a parking lot of a bar. And then I'd wrestle in front of like a couple hundred people in VFW halls for local independent shows. And then, I'd go to NXT and I'd wrestle in the Agora, it's a little bit bigger. And then I'd wrestle on like Raw or SmackDown in Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. And now I'm going to wrestle in freaking Cleveland Browns Stadium, which is freaking incredible. It's been so cool, and the Cleveland fans have been there with me throughout my whole, I want to say, basically my life at this point, a good majority of it. Watched me grow up, and they're all going to be there at Cleveland Browns Stadium, and it's such a dream come true, man.
Yeah, I would have to, like I said, I'm a Cleveland guy. You know what I mean? So if you tell me I'm going to be a part of an event that people cannot wait for in Cleveland Browns Stadium, I honestly don't even know if I'd be able to handle it. Like the pressure of that. I mean, are you going? You'll definitely have a different feeling being at SummerSlam for that than you would a lot of other venues, right? That will be a special homecoming for you, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely. So my senior prom was in Cleveland Browns Stadium.
Oh my God, really?
My 30th birthday party thrown by my lovely wife was in Cleveland Browns Stadium. I actually trained for that match, won the NXT Triple Crown in Cleveland Browns Stadium. There's a video of it of me running the steps and things like that. So Cleveland Browns Stadium holds such a weight to me. And it's a stadium I never thought I'd be able to wrestle in. Like I remember daydreaming in the fourth quarter of Browns game, sitting up in the nosebleed section, thinking about how cool it'd be if there was a big WWE event in this stadium. But thinking like, oh, it would never happen. You know, it's open air. Like Cleveland's not a big market, as people say.
Yeah.
It wouldn't happen. And then the fact that it's actually happening and I'm on the roster now, so I have a chance to wrestle at that event, it's just the stars have aligned in so incredible ways.
You know, you were talking about how you were wrestling in a bar and, you know, VFW halls, 1 and 10 and maybe 20 people. You know, you hear success stories all the time and people will always say, man, I was this close to giving up and I just stuck it out another week. Can you just kind of give me like a little behind the scenes look at how hard that was, you know, putting your body through that for a crowd of 10 people and wondering whether or not you were ever going to get that? Like, what was that like? Like, how did you stay chomping at that bit to stay active in it without just throwing your hands up and going, man, I got to maybe find another way to go through life?
Yeah, it's hard, man. And I say all the time, I would have made it as far as I did if I wasn't born in Cleveland. I feel raises you a certain way.
Yeah.
It raises you to be hard-working underdog. It doesn't take no for an answer. I feel like people from Cleveland are constantly just like crapped on and told they're no good or they're not this or not that. They're never going to make it. So I was used to it, honestly. I'm used to being the underdog. I'm used to hearing no, but just not taking no for an answer and just keep on fighting, keep on scratching, keep on clawing. I was told I wouldn't work in WWE. I was told there was no spot for me in NXT. And I didn't listen to them. I
sure
kicked the door down and became the first NXT Triple Crown champion, right? So I attribute that to just growing up in Cleveland. Because I think it takes a certain type of person to grow up there.
Yeah, I agree. It will kind of make you tough, as we're talking to Johnny Gargano again out of the WWE. You know, I'm curious about what your career goals are. You're in what I would call rare air, where you're doing exactly for a living what it is you wanted to do, and that can be a prize in itself. Like, man, a lot of people hate their life, they hate their jobs, they got this, I'm doing exactly what I want to do. What's on the horizon for your WWE career that you would like to see get done before you're done with it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not satisfied. I'm never going to be satisfied. I'm never going to be one of those people that I'm like, oh, well, you know, I made it, and that's all as far as I want to get. You know, I want to win a championship. I haven't won a championship on Raw and SmackDown yet, and those were titles that I looked to when I was younger, and those were the dream, right? That was like the titles I wanted to hold. And now, me and Tommaso Ciampa, my tag team partner in DIY, we made it our agenda this win the tag team title in 2024. And if it can work out, if the stars align in certain ways to where we can have a tag team title match at SummerSlam in Cleveland Brown Stadium, if that was able to work out, and I was get a chance there for a title, and potentially win a title in that stadium, it'd be just a culmination of years of work.
Yeah.
So that's on the agenda. Obviously, I'm far from finished yet. I had my first match at WrestleMania recently. That was one I'm glad I can check off the bucket list item. But there's so many things I want to do, so many things I still want to accomplish, and I'm far from done yet.
Yeah, I read last night that you actually were in a Royal Rumble and you made it 30 minutes in one of those before you had before you were eliminated. Dude, what is that like? I mean, you had to be exhausted after that, right?
Yeah, I pride myself on my stamina. I'm not the biggest guy, but I feel like my stamina has played a big part in my career. Trust me, you are definitely sore the next morning after something like that.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, you have to be. I know, you know, forever people have used the F word with professional wrestling, and I don't see it that way. I think there's a difference between predetermined and the F word, because I have seen what you guys put your bodies through. We've seen plenty of, you know, retired wrestlers kind of talk about it and, you know, the injuries that they have. And I feel like a lot of people focus on that when talking NFL player, NHL player, maybe even an NBA guy. And I feel like sometimes, man, the wrestlers, the superstars, you guys, sometimes people overlook what you're doing to your bodies there a little bit, even though you're jumping off top ropes and stuff. That's got to be a little frustrating, no?
Oh, for sure. I think when you look at what we've done, and trust me, I can tell you, getting out of bed this morning, I definitely feel it every morning when I get out of bed. There's 20 years of wear and tear on my body. But luckily, I think the schedule and things like that, they take care of us so much better nowadays.
That's a
We're
good point.
extremely lucky to have the medical team and the staff and crew that we have now that look after us. But 20 years of wear and tear on my body definitely tell you that I've been through it. And I know, like, yeah, people bring up the NFL, they bring up MLB, NBA, and the wear and tear those guys have. But we definitely are just a unique animal. We are doing so many different things, and the hits we take, I promise you, are 100% real.
Yeah, no, you can tell for sure. As we're talking to Johnny Gargano, again, WWE superstar. And, you know, I just thought of this question on the fly, but I saw Austin Rivers, NBA player, said, you know, there's a lot of NBA guys that could go in and play in the NFL tomorrow. You're not taking 30 NFL guys and bringing them to the NBA. A lot of people agreed. Plenty of people disagreed with him. How many...
I'll go Cleveland-based if I have to pick one.
Oh, I love that.
I think I'll pick a couple. I think Miles Garrett,
For sure.
obviously,
Freak
would
of nature.
transition extremely well.
Yes.
Also, David Njoku. I'll say David Njoku has got very great charisma, an awesome look. I think David Njoku would also transition very well.
Yeah, I think he could have the personality, because so much of what you guys do is mic skills too, right? It's not just the athleticism. It's like you got to be entertaining, you know, the interviews and all of that, the hype angle of that, and I think Miles would be fantastic at that. And in Njoku, I think, yeah, that's a good call. I wouldn't have thought about the Chief, but there it is. He's already got the name. He's already got the brand. He's already
got
ready
the
to
nickname.
go.
Already got the nickname. Already got the taunt.
Yeah, he's ready to go. We got Johnny Gargano out here replacing himself with David Njoku, as you are going to be.
He can have my spot.
As you are going to be part of
He's my
SummerSlam.
tag team partner. I'll team with him.
Oh, dude, that's a dream scenario for a Cleveland fan right there. Let's make that happen at SummerSlam. Right. Let's make that happen. As SummerSlam tickets are getting underway this week, Johnny Gargano will be part of that at Cleveland Browns Stadium August 3rd. My man, thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning. And I don't know what your availability is as we get closer to SummerSlam that week or whatever, but dude, if you want to jump back on, just feel free to reach out. Let me know. You're a great hang. I'd love to have you back on.
Appreciate that, man, very much. Anytime you guys want me, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's set it up for that week. Dude, have a good rest of your day, all right?
Thank you, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Later. Thanks to Johnny Gargano, WWE superstar, who will be part of SummerSlam August 3rd at Cleveland Browns Stadium. We'll be right back with more Stansbury Show. You guys hang on. 6-9. Welcome back to the Stansbury Show on Rock 106.9. We'll thank Johnny Gargano, WWE superstar, for stopping by the program. Good to have him on. I feel like we made friends, he and I. I'd like to get him back on as SummerSlam gets a little closer. August 3rd, Cleveland Browns Stadium. And again, we were talking about that earlier this morning as well. Dude, that weekend is going to be huge in Northeast Ohio, obviously. You have Mardi Gras, the Hall of Fame week right down here, right in Canton. Then you got SummerSlam up in the Cleveland area. Martin Lawrence, I think it was announced this morning, he's going to be playing Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse August 3rd, same night as SummerSlam. There's a lot of competition for the entertainment eyeball, dollar, ear, however you want to say that. There's a lot going on that week. There's going to be so much Northeast Ohio influencing going on that week. You'll just watch a bunch of celebrities doing stand-ups right there, holding the camera. Oh my God, Cleveland Hopkins Airport, man. Cleveland's a gym. And there'll be so much of that stuff going on that week. So we look forward to that. I did ask him, if you missed that interview, we'll get it posted at WRQK.com later. But I did ask him, as he's a huge Browns fan, about the Browns' plan to maybe move to Brook Park and go with the Dome. And I was interested to get his take there, because I was like, man, I used to be one of those guys. It's like, nah, man, AFC North, you got to freeze your balls off and watch football. That's what happens. I was like, but dude, I got kind of old, man. I can't lie, I kind of did. I was like, dude, I don't know if I hate the Dome. And he was like, dude, give me the Dome. I was like, yeah, all right, man. If the guy that comes off the top turnbuckle says he's ready to just sit inside in comfortable weather, then you know what? I feel like that's safe for me to come out of the I want to be comfortable closet myself there. Feels like you're coming out of another closet, beta. But we'll thank him for stopping by the program. If you missed that, like I said, later at WRQK.com is where you'll be able to find that interview in its entirety. Where you can find your next Rock the Bank $1,000 keyword, that's with Teresa. That happens right here around 10 a.m. Aside from that, I'm done for the day. Not back live again until tomorrow. You know how this works. I want you to stay safe out there, be good to one another, and do, in fact, meet me here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for Friday's program on Rock 106.9. Hopefully you have a great afternoon, and hopefully I run into you somewhere around town.
The first of its kind, now the best of its kind. The Bushnell Wingman 2 GPS golf speaker. High quality bumping audio combined with audible GPS distance readouts. Whether you're into this or this, you'll love this.
Center 175 yards, front 161, back 190.
Magnetic cart mount, convenient remote, charge port, and more. The Bushnell Wingman 2. Head to bushnellgolf.com today to unleash your inner DJ.
No, I mean, isn't a lot of this a little harmless? They say if the idea of testing the borders is in your mind, that's where it becomes a problem. Susan Winter actually told The Independent, she's a relationship expert, I guess. Quote, although micro-cheating may not be a physical cheating, it's certainly testing the borders of emotional cheating, which, again, I think a lot of women would have a harder time with. It feels as if a lot of women feel like they're not listened to in their relationships or respected in that way. So if you show another woman that while you've done a bad job of, falling into bad habits at home with that, that's going to piss them off. Where men are like, a lot of men are more like, well, the physical cheating is going to bother me more because that means you prefer somebody else's penis. That's how basic men are. I mean, let's let Alpha just say it over and over again. Do I get my man card now? And that's literally a lot of dudes. I mean, those guys exist. They're a real thing. They say flirting is flirting, and flirting is the act of fanning a spark that can easily spread to a flame. Again, I get accused of flirting a lot. I enjoy watching people laugh. And so I can be a little playful. And I do have a charm and disarm quality about me when I want to use it. And so I've been yelled at by plenty of women throughout my life. I was a little flirty with the waitress. Like, I didn't call her sweetheart or anything. I was just, like, yeah, but you can kind of tell, like, there's a little bit of this. And I've, as a matter of fact, I was working an event for the radio station at the mall on last Friday night. And a woman came up to the table, and I was just kind of being personable. And I was like, yeah, this is what we're doing this, we're doing. And she walked away, and my salesperson, a woman, said to me, she goes, kind of flirted with her a little bit, right? I was like, I don't know, I was just talking. Like, I was like, I honestly, I wasn't trying. Like, I don't necessarily find that person to be attractive. I wasn't trying. She's like, look at her, though. She's like, Dan, every 10 steps she takes, she's turning around and looking back at this table. She thought you were flirting with her. I was like, all right. It's like, I wasn't trying. Like, I didn't mean to. I really wasn't meaning to. They say many of us like to engage in the odd bit of flirting, but it's the intention behind it which is important. Well, I don't know. Is it like, so if your intention is to like maybe get a number or go out on a date, yes, that's looking to be cheating. But even if you're just looking to keep the skills sharp, right? Like, I'm not sure that's a great place. Like, well, one day I might have to do this. Maybe she'll get hit by a train. Let's make sure I remember how to pick up women. Like, dude, I don't know about that. Like, that seems a little crazy. She also says here that if you're allowing your other half to get away with micro-cheating, you can undermine your place in the relationship. The more they get away with, the more you allow, the less they start to respect you. That's for sure true. Give an inch, people will take 10 miles. For sure that is true. That's probably not every person alive, but I think the more likely somebody is to cheat on you, the more likely they are to be a person like that. Quote, by allowing this, you are effectively saying it's okay to flirt with him or her, and that I am happy to take second place and I don't really matter. Over time, this will erode your self-esteem and set you up to be the victim inside your own relationship. I believe some of that. And this can be a tough conversation amongst men and women because, like, a lot of women will think this, he's just being nice. No, he isn't. No, he isn't. I remember saying to a woman who said that once to me about a guy, he's just being nice. I said, when we met, did you think I was being nice?
Wanted to vote from there.
And she said, yeah. I said, I wasn't. I wasn't nice to anybody else. I was nice to you. Because of how you looked. I thought you were the hottest thing I ever seen, and I wanted to know what your name was. So I walked right over to you, started being nice to you, and I asked you, what's your name? Like, you think I did that to anybody? I was like, you think I did that to the women that I didn't want to sleep with that day? No. Like, no. It's like, honey, this guy isn't your friend. And then sure enough, he started getting drunk in the middle of the night, recording himself playing the guitar and serenading her and sending it to her. And then I was like victory lapping around the house. I was like, I tried to tell you, dumbass. I tried to tell you. Right? And I was like, I was victory lapping. Like, it gets tricky there. I do think men and women can be friends. It's unlikely. As a matter of fact, I tell you all the time, I had a female roommate for a long time. We were best friends for the longest time. We don't necessarily talk as much as we used to. We're actually having lunch together for the first time in years tomorrow. I used to tell her all the time, I understand why nobody believes us. Look at you. Look at what my reputation with women is, and look at you. I was like, you're hot and you have massive boobs. Like, of course people think that, like, secretly there's this underlying thing because of who I am and what you look like. Of course nobody believes us. So I understood why nobody believed us, because most times somebody is kind of pining for the other person. I hate to break it to you, ladies, a lot of men can be nice, but I'm just telling you, as a guy who's been nice plenty of times, it's because my penis was like, dude, walk over there and be nice to her. That's what it was. My brain was like, dude, I don't feel like walking all the way over there. My penis is like, dude, we ain't done stuff in a while. You're walking your ass over there. Go say hi. Like, that's what that is. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it is. There are certain things that just cannot be denied. If you picked up or missed up on any of these conversations, messed up by missing them is what I tried to say there. Oh my God, could I butcher it anymore? Clearly done for the day. If you missed anything, pick up the podcast that shortly at WRQK.com. Your next $1,000 keyword, 10 a.m. with Teresa. Aside from that, I'm done for the day. Be safe out there. Be good to one another. And do, in fact, meet me here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for Thursday's program on Rock 106.9. Hopefully you have a great afternoon, and hopefully I run into you somewhere around town. Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
Laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry. We were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Let's put our mouth right here, right? Because when you get the sexually transmitted diseases there, everybody else can see them, right? So it's like, yeah, I don't know about that one. And so that can be a thing. Conversely, what I have always said is this. If I am introduced to you, meet you, and I find you attractive, and that's the first thing that goes through my mind when I'm thinking about having sex with you, I know I'm screwed. And by screwed, I mean, oh, I'm going to like this one. It's happened 3 different times in my life where when I met the woman, I was like, it's the only thing I could think about when I met her. Those all became relationships. Every last one. There's something about when I love a woman that it's like, let me at it. And you need the jaws of life to get me out of it. Because I'm in there just having a good time. Moving in, setting up lamps, doing whatever I gotta do. I am all into that. And it absolutely turns me on. But it's not something that just the act alone doesn't turn me on. It does kind of come into play who it is I'm doing this with. If that's one of the things I cannot wait to do with you, chances are you're probably going to have my number. And that has been true all 3 of those times. We have a few more examples of this. And so let's spend more of the 8 o'clock hour doing that next on Rock 106.9.
You're never too old for a good morning kiss. The Stansberry Show, Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the program. Rock the Bank with me at 9. Score yourself $1,000 for your weekend. What we had been talking about is women are spilling the tea here on what they enjoy about oral sex. Receiving, not performing necessarily there. One of them said, I like that he puts me first with it. He wants to perform first versus receiving, and I would agree. I'm probably more likely to want to delay my pleasure there. I like kind of the anticipation. If I could give you just a little bit too much of a tour through my bedroom. Another woman here, Laura, 29, says, I like when he uses toys or doesn't feel like, that he's less than if we bring those into our life. And a lot of men will feel intimidated by that. They're so manly, they're so alpha that they get intimidated by these things. And I said, Peter North is using sex toys on women in film. And like, dude, trust me, he's more equipped than you are. And so like, if those porn stars are like, yeah, you know what, bring a little bit of that too. If Peter's not feeling less than, then I'm not sure why you are, right? Another woman, Ashley, was like, dude, I just like the fact that it turns him on. My last boyfriend didn't really like it. He kind of did it begrudgingly, and it just kind of bothered me. And like, my new boyfriend's all about it. It turns him on, and that's hot for me. And, you know, she said, think about it if it were you. She's like, if your wife or girlfriend was like, oh, fine, okay. Like, you don't even want it. It's like, then just stop being annoying. Right? And that would be the case. I would hate that. I would absolutely hate that. To be sitting there thinking, this thing I like is like, what? Is it my birthday? Do I get lucky on my birthday? Like, how? I mean, that's why 50% of divorces happen right there. Another woman here, Caroline, 31. Says that I like the fact that it's not just oral while it's oral. She's not so much into the toys as much as like his hands being a part of this. And we'll stop. We can't give you her full quote because I don't think I'm allowed to say that phrase right there. But she says, quote, it seems like men forget a lot of steps nowadays. But when they don't, it's always better. Before you just start, going down on her, they say. Spend time going a little crazy with a makeout session. Feel her up a little bit. Grab my hair a touch. Really passionately kiss me. And then you start with your hands, and then, then you venture down south. I think it's a little crazy we have to tell people how to have foreplay.
So cute.
But you don't see a ton of foreplay in pornography. We've seen plenty of studies talking about how men have less testosterone now than they did 25 years ago. If you don't think that's about pornography, I think you're crazy. I think the fact that people are being stimulated and getting off without needing another person is affecting people's sex lives. We just did the study the other day that told you that this Gen Z is the most, open sexual generation maybe of all time, although they're having the least amount of sex out of any generation ever. And I said, that's why they're talking about it all the time. That's why they're obsessed with telling you, this is how I identify. This